Well, a couple of days ago, the new Chinese light tank, the WZ-132, appeared in the game, and I've got to say, I was excited as hell when I played it the first time on a test server. And also, as I got it then, I was just reminded of the LT, awesome mobility, great DPM, and a fancy spotting mechanic. But after the first hype in a couple of games, I started to notice some drawbacks. The WZ does have a top speed of 67 km per hour, which is absolutely great. The mobility is just top notch, just on par with the T100 LT, and it does have some great DPM that is just short of the Russian mediums, but it does have 330 alpha damage, which is 20 more than the Russian meds have, which means that at the same DPM you do have a little bit of longer reload, which can be a little bit of a disadvantage when it comes to perma-tracking enemies, for example, and out-trading the opponent Russian meds. But at the same time, you do have 20 alpha damage more, but in battle, I've got to say, you do not notice about the alpha damage difference too much. Also, the WZ does have some great accuracy when aimed in and some outstanding aim time, but it comes at the cost of only having 5 degrees of gun depression, which is just the same as on the T100 LT. Talking about the armor, I can say there is not much of armor existing on this tank. It is an absolute hash magnet. Everyone will be able to penetrate you easily, and that is one of the largest disadvantages about this tank, as people will just penetrate you each and everywhere. But you do have this basket around your turret, which is just protecting your rear and sides of some HEs, so that's some pretty nice thing to have. Yet, as you probably know already, this tank comes with a special spotting mechanic again. This one's called adaptive concealment, and it means that you are just getting unspotted after 7 seconds or 17 seconds if some LT was shooting you with the tracer shells, so just 3 seconds less, which can be quite nice as you just get unspotted 3 seconds before the enemy does, so you can just peek out safely again whenever you are having some cover like a bush in front of you, or can just outspot the enemy as you're a light tank with a light tank camouflage, and the enemies might just not have the view range, so you can safely peek out and put out one shot at a time. On top of that, you do have the red light bulb appear over the enemy that just spotted you, so you immediately know whenever someone sees you, so you can just safely stand in the open. So that is probably the most helpful thing about the spotting mechanic here, because you just don't have to wait the 3 seconds before knowing whether the enemy knows about you. If we compare that to the T100 LT's spotting mechanic of 20 seconds of keeping the enemy spotted, you do notice there are some similarities of being able to shoot the enemy unspotted, but with the WZ it's more like you are able to shoot one shot at a time and have to get unspotted again, while with the LT you could just move away out of the view range of the enemy and keep the enemy spotted and really farm some damage there. So that point goes to the LT. But what's the catch now? Is this just another T100 LT like it was on the release before it got nerfed, so we are getting another light tank meta again? Well, not quite like it. There are some big disadvantages to the WZ light tank, and the main thing that just really struck out to me, which was really disappointing, was the penetration value. The gun does have about 10mm less compared to most mediums, or even 25mm compared to Leopard 1, which should not be the most outstanding thing, but it also has APCR, while most other mediums just got switched to AP shells on the large rebalancing update a couple of patches ago, and that also means that you are just losing some penetration due to shell normalization. So what is shell normalization? Let's just have a quick dive into this topic here. Well, usually your shots just always hit the enemy at an angle and not just on a 90-degree angle orthogonal to the armor, but they are just coming at an angle. This angle does of course mean that you are having a different value on the armor to penetrate there. So what the normalization does is that it adjusts this angle towards the 90-degree angle by 2 degrees on the APCR and 5 degrees on the AP, which already makes a drastic change in some situations and can drastically improve your effective penetration value there. This is also why the T100's premium AP shells are such a huge thing, as they do not have the 0 degrees of normalization that the heat have, but it does have the extra 5 degrees. So while on paper the penetration value might seem like it would be less, it is effectively more penetration there thanks to this adjustment on the angle. Another big problem about the gun of the WZ Light is the accuracy on the move. It is just not great at all. It is one of the worst accuracies on the move, and you just constantly have to aim in your shots, which is kind of reminding me of the Object 907 on release. I really hated that tank right then, but the 907 later on got an accuracy buff and also reticle calibration, which we cannot really expect from the WZ, by the way. But the bad accuracy, bad penetration, lack of armor and bad gun depression can really be a big disadvantage when it comes to light tank playstyle, because you're just constantly having to move around and trying to put out shots while on the go, and if you're having to stop, you're becoming a very easy target for the opponents. Overall, I can say this tank does feel really nice to drive around with. It does have this awesome mobility. You can just do a lot of stuff. You have great DPM to farm some damage, and you also have the special spotting mechanic, which I do really like, I've got to say. It's something different to what we had before, and you can just outplay enemies quite easily with it, but it comes at the cost of just not having the gun depression and just really struggling a little bit to get this tank into the fight sometimes. So I can say it is a very difficult tank to play, yet capable. It is definitely having its place in attack tree, and I do like its play style. I'm probably not going to spam it over and over again, but I definitely do think this tank is going to be seen quite a lot still, and I will still keep testing it for you guys on stream, by the way, which you will be finding on Twitch then, so have a look at the description below. And also I'm very interested in getting to know your opinion about this tank and how you actually perform in it. So let me know down in the comments below, or just come over to Twitch and let me know in the live chat. This is Nino, goodbye.